Hello and welcome back to a new video. So in this one I'm going to be benchmarking the Outer Worlds Spacer's Choice Edition on the GTX 1650. So this is currently available on Epic Games Store as of making this video. Highly recommend you to check it out. And of course, like normal, we're starting at 1080p, just low preset. Everything on low, no FSR at the moment. Let's go to it. So here we have like open world area in the game, and as you can see, we're getting okay FPS. I mean, it's in the 40s and 50s. It's definitely playable. It's not too bad. The game runs better than I thought it would because it said that you needed a GTX 1060 6GB as the minimum. But honestly, it does actually seem playable on this graphics card. There aren't really any issues with textures as long as you stay at the lower settings. You should be fine. There's a little bit of stuttering, but it's not. I wouldn't say that it's too bad. It's definitely still playable. It's not too jarring. I believe this game is Unreal Engine. I think so. That will probably explain it. But to be honest, it's not too bad. So yeah, low settings is decent, and you could play like this. Sure. Okay, so now let's toggle the graphics settings. So this game does have FSR 2, which is good. So this is FSR 2 quality. So if you put it on FSR 2 quality, as you can see, you're getting a bit higher, I suppose, a bit closer to 60. So if you want kind of close to 60 FPS experience, you can play with lower FSR 2 quality, and well, obviously it's not exactly stable at 60, but it depends where you are in the game. If you're in a more enclosed area, then it's more likely to be a stable 60. But yeah, I mean, it's still not quite there, but it's not too bad. But anyway, I wouldn't actually recommend those settings in this game. So what I'd recommend, firstly, is actually probably medium, maybe high settings. It depends on whether you're okay with a slightly lower frame rate. But let's start with medium, but with textures set to low. Because obviously the 4 gigs of VRAM, I wouldn't really recommend textures being set too highly. But feel free to you increase the other settings. So as you can see on medium, it looks quite a lot better. There's a lot more foliage, and honestly, the frame rate still holds up pretty well, surprisingly well, in fact. And yeah, the textures are fine. I mean, I think you can keep them in low, and it's honestly not that. It's not that big of a deal. I mean, they look good enough on low settings, the textures. And if you increase the texture resolution too much, I believe they go all blurry in this game. So yeah, this is the medium preset. As you can see, it's pretty decent. I would recommend this over low because the performance hit isn't that big, to be honest. Yet the graphics just look a lot better, so yeah. This is medium for you. And now let's go to high. So firstly I'm going to show high settings. Just normal high settings without the textures being set to low. So as you can see on high settings, we're getting around 30. The textures actually haven't gone blurry, so that's actually good. But I don't know whether they will if you continue to play for a bit longer, as that can sometimes happen. But yeah, so if you play on high settings, you can kind of expect around 30 FPS, sometimes a bit lower. In open areas like this, it might drop, so I wouldn't recommend high settings unless you plan to use FSR. So the game is actually playable at high settings with FSR enables, as you can see. Enabling it, as you can see, we're a bit higher now. So we were like at 30 FPS before, now we're kind of at like 35, so you know, it's just enough to kind of keep the FPS above that 30 mark. So I'd say that if you're okay with kind of a 30 to 40 FPS kind of experience, but yeah, high settings is doable when you've got FSR quality enabled. And honestly, the game isn't stuttering that much, and the textures are holding up, so I'm actually quite impressed with that. Yeah, I'm impressed with the performance. It's actually running pretty well on the GTX 1650 here at 1080p high with FSR quality. So yeah, again, if you're okay with 30 FPS experience, like a console-like experience, then yeah, by all means play with these settings, because it does look really good with these at these settings. So yeah, it looks a lot better in low settings, that's for sure. A lot better. And yeah, the stuttering isn't bad. It's not that much actually, stuttering. So now, lastly, ultra settings. Let's leave FSR off. Actually, this is very high. And then there's ultra. Okay, so we're going to do very high next, and then we're going to do ultra. The graphics look really good, but obviously you can see that it's just... Oh yeah, and the textures are now kind of... Yeah. Now the textures are glitching out. Just what I was talking about. VRAM's maxed out, so... I think if you really want to play on these settings, I think that putting the textures on at least medium should solve the issue. Has that solved the issue? No, they're kind of glitching out. Yeah, I wouldn't really recommend very high settings just because of like the texture problems. Because yeah, the game, it ruins the look of the game obviously if like the textures are kind of glitching out like that. So yeah. Because obviously it looks pretty bad. But again, if you like downgrade the settings a bit, textures should store themselves. Yeah, as you can see, there we go. So when we're on high, you can see on just normal high settings, you can see that the textures are back. The game's, you know, everything's kind of loaded in again. Game looks a lot better. I mean, the textures are still like, yeah, they're a lot better than they were before. They're not blurry, so yeah, I wouldn't play on very high just because of that. The graphics card doesn't really have enough VRAM, and the FPS you're getting is like really bad anyway, so I wouldn't play on very high. I'd recommend low settings with FSR for if you want the best experience, or probably medium settings with FSR actually. So I'm just going to show the recommended settings now. So if you want kind of a high FPS experience with decent visuals, this I think could be the way to go. I mean, we're getting in the 40s. The visuals look pretty good. 40s, 50s. It's not 60 FPS, but you know, this is quite a demanding game, so you kind of have to lower your expectations on a graphics card like this to a degree, I guess. I think that this is a solid balance between visuals and performance. But if you're fine with 30 FPS and you're fine with a console-like experience, then high end with FSR quality is also a solid way to play this game on the GTX 1650. Anyway, I hope that you found this benchmark informative. If you did, don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll be back with more videos like this very soon indeed.